everyone. Happy Monday. Welcome to July. I can't believe we are already in July. Where's the year going? I would like to know these things. I have no idea. But I hope you're all well. If you're in the US, we're getting ready to celebrate 4th of July this week, which is very fun. And for some of you might mean a day off this week. That's very exciting. I don't think we have any grand plans. It's supposed to rain that day. So if it doesn't, we're going to go watch fireworks. But if it does, I think we will stay home and watch movies or something. So I hope you are all doing well. It is gorgeous here in Tennessee today. We had a storm over the weekend and it's lovely. I'm telling you guys, I think our high is something ridiculously wonderful like 80. I don't know. It's beautiful today. So, and there's a tractor right outside the window. So hopefully there's not too much noise from that. I hope you guys are doing really good. Let's say hi. Well, let's see. Let's start this right. I'm Beverly McCullough of Flamingo Toes, and we are working through my orange Pekoe quilt in this sew along. So it's really fun. I love doing sew alongs with you guys. We take one of my patterns and we just break it down into segments and sew through it. And the fun thing about this one is it's a little bit different. We don't have a ton of different blocks to make, but we have applique this time. So that's kind of new and different for what we've done in the past. So there's lots to talk about today. We're going to go over how to cut out our quilt, our orange peel pieces with templates, whether you're using the paper or whether you are using the acrylic template that goes with the pattern. And we're going to just talk about that and interfacing, because the way we're going to assemble this quilt is the interfacing method. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. I'm going to just show you what interfacing I'm using and how we're going to cut that out. And then next week we're going to go into more how we're going to actually use the interfacing. So I promise we're going to take it all step by step. So nothing to stress about here. So who's here? I have to scroll up because you guys are awesome at commenting already. Marion is here from Prescott Valley, Arizona. I spent a lot of time in Prescott Valley, Marion. That's fun. She's got her template, and Joy's here. She's excited. Pamela says it is beautiful in Indiana today too. Oh, love it. That's awesome. Wendy is here. Ruth, Nandy, and Vicky, Leona, and Judy from sunny Vermont. Is it nice in Vermont, Judy? Deneen is here. Kimberly says happy July. Heather's here from Indiana as well. We got Indiana in the house. Mary's watching from work today. You're being a good girl, Mary. That's awesome. Thanks for watching even though you're working. Ruth is here, and Lisa says it's hot in Texas. Okay, sorry about that. I will stop rubbing in how beautiful it is in Tennessee. Maybe not. Roxanne's here from Greenville. Yay. And Alice is here from Ellenville, New York. Where in New York is Ellenville? It sounds very sweet, Alice. Is it upstate New York? Is it near the Finger Lakes? I don't know where anything in New York is really mostly. So and Peggy's from upstate New York. Okay, so we have New York in the house too. And Ohio. Cynthia's here from Ohio. Pamela says it's fun to see where everyone is watching from. I love that too, Pamela. It's so fun. It's like everybody's waving from all over the country and Canada. Lori's here from Canada. And Red Knits says happy Canada Day here today. It's Canada Day? I didn't know that. Well, to all of our Canadian friends, happy Canada Day. Thanks for tuning in on your holiday. That's awesome. How fun. Yay. I'm so glad you guys are here. Okay, so just a little brief rundown of how we're going to do things. We're going to go over cutting, like I said, of our quilts and interfacing, and we're going to just talk about all the things that we need to know about cutting out our pieces, how to get 2 templates out of a 10-inch stacker. And then we are going to talk about a little bit about next week and how we're going to sew these together. Then we have I'm going to tell you all about my cute Sweet and Spooky quilt. Doesn't she look so cute hanging here? Well, I suppose. I've just assigned them gender roles. So on my quilt, the witch is a little girl and the vampire is a little boy, and they're trick-or-treating together. So I'll talk about that at the end. And I'm also going to show you guys the fabrics for the Star of Wonder quilt along that Backwater Shop is starting tomorrow for Christmas in July. So that will be very fun, and I think you guys are going to love that quilt pattern. It is stunning. And of course, we will have our weekly giveaways. So after we're done going over all the cutting stuff, don't run away, because we're going to hang out and chat and look at pretty fabrics, and it's going to be great. Okay. Oh, thank you, Kimberly. She said the spooky quilt is darling. It was such a fun pattern. It is really cute. So what we are going to make today. So here is the quilt in my afternoon tea fabrics, and you can see all the little shapes here. Those are the orange peel shapes, and that is what we're going to talk about today. So that is what is appliqued onto your background fabric. Now, your background fabric doesn't have to be white. For the quilt that I'm sewing along making this time, I'm using a darker background fabric because it contrasts nicely with the prints that I'm using for the orange peels. So take that into account when you're picking out your fabrics. And I'm going to talk about several things today that I've linked to in the video description. So the pattern, the templates are linked there, the fabrics are linked there, and stuff like that. So if you're not sure about where to find something, check out that section of the video. All right, so we are going to talk about the orange Pekoe quilt pattern, and with the pattern comes a paper template, which is hard to see in this light. This is you can see the writing, but that's all you can see. So let's switch cameras. How about that? So this is the paper template that comes with the paper pattern. If you have the PDF pattern, you will be printing this out yourself. So if you want to use the paper template, you absolutely can. This is the best option, or the least expensive option, if you don't want to buy the acrylic template, or say you are sewing overseas and shipping from the Postal Service is just outrageous. We don't add anything to those shipping rates. So if you're in the shop looking at shipping rates, that's what the post office charged. So I'm sorry about that. But you can absolutely still use the paper template. If you are here in the US or you want to pay, you can obviously do whatever you want, even if you're international. But I do have an acrylic template that I have designed that is this exact size. It's designed to go with this pattern. It's available in my shop and in lots of other quilt shops as well. So you can check your favorite quilt shop, or you can check mine, whatever you'd like to do. This acrylic template is nice and sturdy. It doesn't bend, and it makes cutting out your pieces quite a bit easier because it's more of a one-step process rather than a two-step process like we'll talk about with the paper templates. So what you will need is to cut out all of your orange peel fabrics, and you're also going to cut out your background fabrics. Now, I don't want you to stress about the fact that this orange peel, when it cuts it out, is going to take up almost all of the background square. We're going to sew it to the interfacing, so it will be a little bit smaller. It is designed to fit correctly on here, so don't stress about size or worry that there is a discrepancy in the pattern or anything like that. So, Sita Stitch said she just found the channel and subscribed. Thank you. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, I would love it if you guys went ahead and hit the subscribe button, and if you happen to like the video at the same time, that would be just really, really sweet of you as well. I appreciate that. Ruth says she's still hoarding Daisy Field Sweet Acres Afternoon Tea and Sweet Freedom. I love it, Ruth. Good for you. Thank you for that. That's so exciting. Nancy says she keeps tuning in an hour late. She will watch again from the beginning. Nancy, we just were 10 minutes in, so you're not missing anything. You're all good. Marion says the prices for the template and fabric bundles are great. Thank you, Marion. Yes, we did try and make this a very reasonably priced template. It's, I don't remember exactly, it's around $10. And I always design multiple quilts to go with my templates, so I will just give you a little sneak peek of information. In February, there will be another quilt out that uses this same template. And even before that, this fall, I have a quilt that I designed with my daughter, Becca, and it's a really cute fall quilt. I can't wait for you to see it, but it also uses the templates. So things that are coming up ahead, and you know that if you invest in the template, you'll be able to use it on multiple quilts. So that's a beautiful thing. Okay, so here is our paper template. So what I would like you to do is, if you are somebody that's super comfortable with a rotary cutter, then by all means cut this out with one of your more dull rotary cutters. A lot of times what I'll do with a rotary cutter blade is I have a couple different rotary cutters. I always keep the ergonomic one for all my cutting, because it's just, I like the fact that the blade doesn't stay out. I don't have to do an additional step to get the blade to go away. Because I'll be honest with you, I'm a bit of a klutz, and so I don't want to hurt myself. But I also keep an additional rotor cutter that has a more dull blade for paper things, or things that I'm worried that, won't hold up as well as fabric. So that's just an option and an idea for you if you want to use it with paper. But I'm not super comfortable with just running a rotary cutter and making sure that it is going to stay right on that line. If you are comfortable with that, by all means, just dive in. But if you are not comfortable with that, then you can just grab your favorite paper scissors and cut out your template. Again, whether you are working with the printed one that comes with the paper pattern, or you've printed it out yourself, you're going to cut it out on the outside line. So you're not cutting on this inner line. That's going to be just kind of our seam allowance guide. We're not going to ever cut anything out on that line. That's just going to show you what size the template will be when it's all finished. So I'm just cutting extremely slowly, apparently. You can just zip through this if you're on rewatch, because that was very, very slow. And then you're going to have your paper template. Now, again, this is entirely up to you as far as how comfortable you are. Let me get something else here. I want a light background so you can see I have all my stacks over here. They're so cute. Okay, look at these little flowers. Aren't these darling? I love them. If you didn't watch last week's video, last week I showed you all the prints that are in the Feed My Soul fabric collection that I'm using here. So if you didn't watch that and you want to see all the cute prints at once, you can go check that out if you haven't done that. So what our goal is, this is designed for a 10-inch stacker. Now, you do not have to use a 10-inch stacker. You can pull from your stash. You can use the fabric quarter bundle, whatever you would like. No, Cheryl, don't worry about being late. We're just getting going. And so we're going to get 2 of these out of a 10-inch stacker. So if you are not familiar with 10-inch stackers, there is a very small little pinking edge here. So we are going to just double check where we're going to line this up. So this template is 10 by 5, so it shouldn't be any problem getting these 2 of these on here. But you are going to go into the pinking just a little bit on this side, because that's what you would do for a seam allowance. Usually you try and run, you want to always check your pre-cuts for where that 10-inch lies or where that edge lies, and take that into account with your seam allowance. With this template and this quilt, we have a little bit of grace for our seam allowance. We are going to sew these in applique method and put them onto the background fabrics. So if, say, Cheryl's are not the exact same size after sewing as Pamela's, it's not the end of the world. So there's a little bit of grace. So don't stress out too much if your 10-inch stacker is just slightly off. It's fine. You'll just remember that when you go to sew it together, right? So I like to always double check where I'm lining up my pieces. So I am going to draw a little line right here. That's the halfway mark. And so I move my template over and make sure that it's right on that line, and it lines up at about the same side over here. And I want to make sure my top and bottom is lined up. And that's how I know, okay, I can get 2 out of my stacker. So with the paper template, my recommendation, and again, this is personally how I would do it. If you have another method, feel free to leave it in the comments or do what works best for you. But I would recommend going ahead and tracing. You can pick this template up. You can pin it in place if you would like to. I'm using a washable ink pen. The ink will just wash out, but you're not going to see the ink anyway because it's going to be right on the edge that you're going to cut. If any of the ink is ending up on the fabric when you go ahead and sew, you're not going to see it. So I'm just tracing, and that's a lot to do, right? With all of these pieces, I get that. But once you have it traced, then you can go ahead and, if you want, layer 2 together, pin, and then cut 2 out at once. Now, and just use your scissors, or if you're confident with your with holding a steady hand and going slow, sometimes a smaller rotary cutter than the 45, if you have a smaller one, it's a little bit easier to control. So but I just don't want you to have to buy something else, is what I'm trying to say. I recommend, if you don't want to spend a ton of money, go ahead and just grab your scissors and cut these out. If they're not, you're going to try and get as close to perfect as you can with the paper template, but if it is just, a 1/16 of an inch or something like that off, again, there's some grace, which I will show you when we start sewing next week. So this is supposed to be like no stress. So that's the goal. Kimberly asked if you can trace from the wrong side of the fabric. Absolutely, and that's probably a better idea because it's lighter. Yes, that's very clever of you, Kimberly. Good job. Joy says she just ordered the template, so now she has to wait until it gets to Canada. Okay, Joy, it'll go fast once you get the template, which is what I'm going to show you now. So that's the gist of how I would do it with the paper template. I would trace first, then cut, whether you cut with scissors or whether you cut with your rotary cutter, whatever you feel comfortable with. If you have the paper template, the plastic template, I would still do the double check that you have your edge lined up. And you really only need to do that once per template, per stacker. I did it every so often just to remind myself, okay, this is where this outer edge is going to go, and I just didn't want to get too far over into the middle. But once you have it, all you have to do, and I kind of do this at an angle because that's just how my arm works, is you're going to just run your rotary cutter right along the edge of that acrylic template. And my blade is, it came apart. My blade's a little bit dull. So you can see how easy and fast. You don't have to do any tracing with the template, and you can just run your cutter right along the side. So once you cut one side, you're going to move that off to the side, but don't shimmy it around too much. I am doing 2 at once. I wouldn't go too crazy and stack up a bunch of fabrics. The more fabrics you have with a template, and as you're cutting, the more likely it is for those fabrics to shift a little bit. So your top cut might be accurate, but your bottom cuts might be off just a little bit. And it's a little bit harder to make sure that those 10-inch stackers, because we're taking up, side to side the entire available real estate, basically, then it's easy for the bottom ones to shift. The other thing is you can't really starch these because you are, there's no room for shrinkage here. But we don't need to fit tiny pieces together. And again, I'll change my blade. But I'm just now cutting off these little extra pieces in my template. And now I've got 2 cute little orange peels here. And I'm going to bring over the remaining pieces that I have left over, that curve that I didn't cut. I turned that right side up, but that was just so the words would be right side up. It's not different on each side. And we're going to do the exact same thing. We're just going to cut here. And I didn't get that exactly perfect. The fabric sticks out just a little bit, so I'm just going to run it again and sliver off that little bit there. Just shimming, and I'm being careful as I'm moving my fabric and template so that it doesn't shift and get off in alignment. So you just want to double check as you're doing this that it's still lined up top and bottom with the fabric and that your template hasn't slipped. So you can see that we go pretty much edge to edge on those 10-inch stackers, but that's how you get two. And I have cut out two pieces at the same time. So that'll take you half as long as doing them singly. So that's the easy thing about this template. Now, the template is square at the top and bottom. That is just to give ourselves a seam allowance. When we sew it together, it will come to more of a point so that you don't have to worry about that either, as far as you don't have to trim anything off or worry about any little dog ears, because this will line up with the top and bottom of the stacker. Now, if you are doing a fat quarter bundle, then you'll just you can either cut your fat quarter bundle into 10-inch pieces or 5-inch pieces. This is 5 by 10, and I would do 10-inch pieces and then just line them up and cut them out across the yardage or whatever it is that you're using. You could use yardage too, and then you would want to cut it into 10-inch pieces. Now, if you are a super scrap saver, you can save these pieces, but you don't have to. I don't have the bandwidth to save all the scraps. So you will just keep doing this. I have a few more that are cut here until you have all of your pieces cut out, and where are they all? And the fabric, the pattern tells you look how cute these are. I love this little print right here. This is going to be so fun. So you can see how cute they look against the navy blue. Isn't that going to be fun? It's going to be kind of stained windowish. That is so cute. So you're going to keep doing that until you have all the orange peel pieces cut. You do have to purchase the pattern to know how big to cut your pieces, how many pieces you need, and your sashing information and stuff like that. So that is linked in today's video description, so you can go check that out. All right, let's see. I don't want to miss anything. Ruth says it might be easier to handle by cutting the 10-inch stacker in half first. You can absolutely do that too, Ruth. If you want to cut your stacker in half and then cut, you can do that if you want. Marion says, will it work if you trace onto the fusible, then... Wait, I have a heart there, so I can't see what it says. It's got a little, the little heart that if you want to heart someone, but I can't read what Marion said. So, will it work if you trace onto the fusible, then sew before you cut? Yes. Yes. So if you're going to trace onto the fusible, you're going to trace, you can trace this outer line, but you will still sew on the 1/4 of an inch inside. If you, I would go ahead and cut 10-inch squares if you want to do that. Or you can trace this line and sew on that line. It's up to you. For me, I found it was a little bit easier to cut them separately. But if that works better for you, Marion, that's totally fine. So, as Marion said, we are going to need fusible interfacing. And the reason we're doing that is because, look at all this. This is a lot of interfacing. This is fusible interfacing, which is why it is folded like this. And you can't press fusible interfacing, because if you do, you will end up with it either fused to your ironing mat or your iron, either of which is a bad scenario. So don't do that. We are going to need fusible interfacing, and it says in the pattern instructions how much you're going to need. And I am using the PLF 36. This is Pellon's lightweight fusible. You can use, there's sheer weight fusibles out there. There's Flex and Fuse. There's different brands. If you have a favorite fusible brand, then you can go ahead and do that. If you don't like fusibles and you want a sew-in brand, that is fine. You can do that too. You're just going to need more pinning in place. The beauty of the fusible is that we're going to fuse it to our background fabric, and then we don't have to pin it when we go to applique it on. So that's the method that we're doing to have those seams. So we're not doing a raw edge applique, we're doing the turned edge, but we're using the fusible to do that. So for every orange peel print fabric, you are going to need a corresponding interfacing fabric. Sorry, I lost my brain there. So the same thing goes with this one. You can trace with the paper pattern, you can trace with this, you can just cut with this and just keep moving it down the width of the fabric, or you can cut your interfacing into 10-inch strips, and then, you know, so you're not working with all of this extra bulk. It's entirely what is easiest for you and your work surface. If you're working with a very small work table, like a dining room table or something like that, or a card table, then it might be easier for you to cut your fabric in your interspacing fabric into 10-inch strips and then deal with it rather than dealing with all of your fabric at once. So, okay, so I did read that right, Marianne. I just wanted to double check. So there is some grace here. Again, the point is we want our seam allowance to be the finished size of our templates. So if you're slightly off, it's not the end of the world. You're not trying to line up curves with a piece of fabric that you've cut that coordinates, right? We're appliquing these on. So you just want to get as close as possible to the actual template size. You don't want to go over the template size because that is going to make it so that it doesn't fit correctly on our background fabric. Okay, so let me know what you guys think about cutting. So this week we need to cut out all of our orange peels. We need to cut out all of our interfacing, and we need to cut out all of our squares for our background fabric. You will also be cutting like sashing pieces. You don't have to do that this week because we are not going to be worrying about sashing for next week. We're just going to be appliquing. So that's your job for this week, is to go ahead and get your background fabrics and your interfacings and your orange peel fabrics cut out, because that's what we'll need for next week. And next week we're going to go over a few different things as far as interfacing. Well, that too, but applique. So I'm going to show you a few different machine stitch options because everybody's machines are different, and you might not have, say, a blanket stitch, but you probably have a zigzag, and I know you have a straight stitch. So I'm gonna show you the different looks that you get with those different stitches. Or if you are super strong as far as wanting to do hand stitching, you can fuse these on and hand stitch them on if you would like to. I don't have time to do that, so we're going to machine stitch them on, and it's going to be awesome. And that is the goal for next week. So if you guys have cutting questions, let me know, and I will answer them. But that is those are my tips for, let's see, I'm going to switch cameras here. Those are my tips for cutting out either with the paper or with the acrylic templates. So if you're working with paper, I really do recommend getting a marking pen of some sort so that you can trace rather than holding up the template and cutting out that way. It's just, things shift too easily otherwise. Lori says she's having a problem deciding which fabrics to use. There's so many nice ones to choose from. I know, isn't that fun? We are very, very blessed by the quilting fabric community, like just the level of talent. There's so many amazing fabrics out there. So, and the beauty is it's so easy to find a 10-inch stacker and that you love. So that's one of the other fun things about this quilt, is that it's so easy to get the materials for, because you just need a little bit of extra fabric for those accent corners between the blocks. So, and you don't actually have to have those cut for next week either. You can have those cut the week after. So let me show you the schedule here. So here's our schedule. This is the cutting and interfacing week. Next week is the orange peel applique, and that's when I mentioned we are going to go through all of the different ways to applique this orange peel down. And then the week after that, we'll talk about those little accent block pieces and sashing, that'll be another easy week. And then we will assemble our quilts and add our borders. So these are super fun these are going to be fun weeks. I'm excited to see all your quilts. And if you haven't already shared what fabric you are sewing with in my Facebook group or on Instagram, I would love for you to do that. If you're on Instagram, you can use the hashtag and tag me. It's Orange Pekoe Quilt SAL. And if you're in the Facebook group, you don't have to use the hashtag or tag me. I will see that either way. But definitely share your progress as you guys are cutting out your quilts, because we want to see what fabrics you're sewing with. We all love looking at pretty fabrics. That makes it so fun. Heather said, Marion said, I have the Baby Lock Crescendo. We both have, hello, I can read, the Baby Lock Crescendo. So she's excited to watch how you choose what stitch. Okay, yes, we're going to have options next week, Marion. And Heather says, when you sew the fabrics to the interfacing, do you use the 1/4 inch foot and turn the fabric as you sew around the curve, or draw the seam line 1/4 inch in from the edge first? You will cut on this outer line. So let me show you the camera here again. For the interfacing method, you're going to always cut on the outer line. You won't cut on this inner line. So this is our seam allowance. So yes, you will use a 1/4 inch foot. So your seam allowance will be the seam sewn line. Next week, I'm going to show you how to do that so that you can easily turn it right side out and not have like open interfacing on a side. So we're going to go over that next week. If you're super eager to, it does have that information in the pattern as well, so you can check out if you want to get ahead. But you are always going to cut on this outer line, not the inner line. Okay, that's our seam allowance line. Nancy says she just ordered the pattern. Woohoo! I love it. That's great. Okay, so are you guys ready to look at some fun fabric? So we are moving on to our our post sew along section of our video. So I hope you guys love this part just as much as I do. It's really fun teaching you guys things and going over the sew alongs, but it's also fun just like sharing all the other stuff that's going on at the same time. So I hope you guys enjoy this part too. So every year Fat Quarter Shop hosts a couple of small projects as sew-alongs in the summer. And in June, it's always a Halloween quilt. And in July, it's always a Christmas quilt. So we just finished up the June Halloween quilt, and that's right there. This is the Spooky and Sweet sew-along quilt. I made mine up in Dainty Daisy fabrics. So that's my basic with Riley Blake, and it's got all those little like polka dot things that you can see. Those are actually very tiny little daisies. So I went with kind of a muted colorway with the dark gray background. It's the Riley gray colorway for the background, and then I used some of the blues and greens and I paired those with the oranges so that it would have like kind of a jewel tone vibe. And I'm really excited with how it turned out. It's so cute. So the instructions included information on how to make this as a mini, which is what I did, but you can also make it into a very long door banner, which is darling. If you're not in the Facebook group for Fat Quarter Shop, definitely pop in there. It's called Kimberly's Stitch Squad, and you can see what everybody else is doing. It's a free sew along, so even if you don't have time to make a Halloween quilt right now or the inclination to make a Halloween quilt right now, I highly recommend going and downloading all the patterns because it's a really fun one to sew along. And you just really have such a great time sewing those blocks up. They're really big, so it doesn't take very long to sew them up. And you know, by the time you've sewn a cute ghost wearing a witch costume, like, how can you be sad? It's so fun. So check that out. There is also a free matching cross stitch pattern that they're doing with that as well, and I believe with the Christmas one too. So you can, if you're a cross stitcher, you can check out that pattern and download it too and make up cute matching cross stitch patterns. So it's very cute. So Mary says that she has her template, been waiting for background. Yay. Paula says she might try her 28mm rotary blade. She loves the Fat Quarter Shop Christmas Mystery. She's doing that too. That's a great idea, Paula, to try the smaller rotary blade. Yeah, if you actually have one, that's a good option for you because it gives you a little bit more control. And Stacy says she loves the Dainty Daisy fabrics. Thank you. Oh, yay. You guys are the sweetest. So that's really fun, and that's all done, and that means it's time for the Christmas one, which I love. I love, love, love. These are such fun sew-alongs because they're just small projects. So you can make them as big as you want. You can repeat blocks or add other blocks, but I've added a little bit to how I'm going to finish the Christmas one because I want it to be just the tiniest bit bigger than what it actually is. So I wanted to show you the fabrics that I'm using. And that sew-along starts tomorrow. So I don't have the actual links on my website yet. So you'll have to go to the Fat Quarter Shop blog to find out all the information. There is a kit that they are offering. I don't know if they still have the kits or not. But the blog post is linked in today's video, so you can go check out what you would need as far as fabrics. And I'll show you what I'm sewing with. So this is really fun. This is a collection called, let's see what this collection is called, because really that's good information to have, right? It's called Merry Little Christmas. I thought that was it. I just wanted to double check. And it is by My Mind's Eye. They're Riley Blake Designs. They are a paper company pattern, but they also design fabric with Riley Blake. So let's check out these cute fabrics. Okay, so here is the really fun fabric collection. These are really traditionally colored, which I'm ready for. I'm down with the traditional colors right now. So there's a gorgeous poinsettia print. I love that on the red print, the poinsettias are more muted with the pinks and reds. It feels very vintagey, this print. Doesn't it feel like vintagey? It feels like it should be bark cloth or something. So that comes in 3 colorways, and I bought some of the extra of this to use as an additional border. So when it comes time for that final reveal, I will have information on how I made mine a little bit bigger. So just keep that in mind, that I'm adding a border to what they're doing. Not that it matters, but that's what I'm doing. So there's really cute poinsettia prints. Then, these are all upside down. Then I love, look at this print, you guys. It's all these cute little, like, cocoa. It's like almost like a labels print. But it's got peppermint candies and Christmas treats. And it's a tone on tone. So I really like or it's like a single color, right? So it's got the cocoa. This one would be really sweet for fussy cutting if you are looking for something like that. So this one's really cute. And it comes in green. It comes in this cream color and then in this red. So fun. And then there's a little candies print. Look how cute this is, you guys. Aren't those the sweetest little candies? It's so cute and vintagey. So that comes in a multicolor and a green and then a kind of soft, like muted red on red. It's really hard to tell what they are, but then when you get close, you're like, oh, they're candies. So cute. Kimberly says she always loves fabric with writing on it. Me too. Then there is the cutest little vintage Santa Claus. Look how sweet he is. This comes in 2 greens, a light one and a dark one. This is a dark green. It's a little bit hard to tell, but it's kind of a forest green. And then a red. It's cute with his little vintage. I have a print, like a wood print of this Santa in my kitchen, and he looks so cute. Looks like that one. And then look at this print, you guys. This star is amazing. Like, how great is this? It's kind of a big star, so it's really fun, and I can totally see this being used as being fussy cut as well, because you could do some pretty amazing things, especially if you do like paper piecing and things like that. English paper piecing, like how gorgeous would this be in a project like that? So that comes in red, comes in green, and then, of course, like a white with red and green. Look at how fun that is. I just love it. Then there is a darling little holly print. So that's reds and green and red. That's pretty, huh? And then this white with red and green. Look at how cute this is. Isn't that so sweet? Ruth says she never knows what to do with face prints. Oh, like the Santa? You know, I'll just cut them up and put them in a block, but I also do a little bit of fussy cutting too. So if you have these are pretty small, So they would fit in a 2.5 inch, I believe. Let's measure. I think they would fit in a 2 inch by 2 inch square. They would easily. So here's like the cut. So most pieces aren't a whole lot smaller than 2 by 2. So you could do some cute fussy cutting with little Santa. They're really vintage looking, Pamela. I totally agree. Yay. Oh, and Cheryl says that her template and pattern has shipped so quick. Okay, we're trying to get these out to you as fast as we can, so hopefully you're getting your templates quickly. We are trying to ship them very quick. Cindy says she loves the holly print in white. Me too. I think that's really vintagey looking too, with this little like sketchy kind of thing happening there. Oh, so sweet. Okay, so that's that, and then there is a stripe. There's a red with pink. These stripes are doing crazy things to my eyes on the camera. I do love this. Look at this one, you guys. Whoa, there we go. With the red and green. How pretty is that? And then there is a green on green. And then there's some plaids, which I love that she included stripes and plaids. I love anything stripes or plaids. So it's been really fun to be able to sew with both of those. So these are all the plaids, and they look, the reds do funny things on cameras. I don't know why that is, but these are gorgeous. So they're really fun. And then, look at this, you guys, there's a cheater print. Well, there's like 2 bonuses in this collection. So this is the cheater print, and this is what I've actually bought to go on the back of my quilt as the backing. But it would also be the cutest stockings, you guys, if you had cheater stockings, you know, and then you could just quilt around the elements, and or a tree skirt, or oh my gosh, so many different options, right? Or you could just make a quilt out of this and put Minky on the back and bind it and have a really, really cute quilt at the end of it. I might do that. I might do that too. Maybe I'll buy extra. But this is the cheater print, and it's so sweet. I really love it. It's super cute, you guys. So this is what I bought for the back of my quilt. And again, this collection's called, oh, placemats. Great idea, Marion. Yeah, I know. It's so cute. Or a pillow. It would be a very cute pillow, Ruth. Yeah, and it would be so easy because you could just kind of outline the elements of the quilt with your machine, especially if you use like an invisible thread, you wouldn't even see it. And then it would look like you made this really cute quilted pillow cover, and you did, you know, all you did was sew around it. So thank goodness for that. And then there's a bonus plaid, and I really love this plaid too. This would even be cute as the back of a quilt, but I'm using it as the binding on my quilt, and I just think it's really sweet. I love the red, the shades of red and green in that. Let's see if I can show it to you, and it looks kind of vintagey too. It's kind of like pinks and reds and a couple shades of greens. It's really sweet. So this is Merry Little Christmas from My Mind's Eye and Riley Blake Designs, and that's what I'm going to sew with for the Star of Wonder Sew Along that starts tomorrow. So, and for the background, I didn't mention that. Where is it? It's right here. I am using my Dainty Daisy Barn Red floral. So it's kind of a cloud background, and then the little flowers and speckles are Barn Red. So it looks super pretty with this colorway. You can see how well the reds go with it. Doesn't that look fun? I think it's really cute. So I'm excited about that. That's my background fabric. And again, the information on that is linked in today's video description. So if you want to sew along with us, we would love it. And you can do that by checking out all the information on the Fat Quarter Shop blog. And I'm almost positive there's a stitch along. They always do a stitch along too. So you can check out the stitch along information if you are feeling like making up another matchy, cute cross stitch pattern. They're just always so, so cute. Yay. Oh, yay. I'm glad you guys like it. So make sure you come by the website tomorrow and check those out. You can see my first block. It's very exciting. Not giving anything away to say that this one is, instead of like picture blocks like the Halloween one, that it is more of a medallion. So we're going to start in the center and work our way out. So that's just a little hint of what the quilt looks like. Oh, Therese, I'm sorry you fell asleep. That sounds lovely, though. A nap is very good. Okay, so now it's giveaway time. You guys, it's always fun to do giveaway time. And my giveaways are super easy to enter. All you have to do is leave a comment, whether you're watching live or later in the week. You can say it all with me, or whether you are watching here in the U.S. or internationally. So all you have to do is leave a comment, and then your job is to come back next week and see if you won, because I have tried leaving comments or responding to people's comments, and it still doesn't always work. So I need you guys to come back the following week and see if you won. Otherwise, the prizes go back in the kitty, and that's always a sad thing. Well, it's sad. It would be very sad if you found out later you won and then you didn't claim it. So that would be sad. So last week was our opening week in the Sew Along, and I always do a little bit bigger giveaway. So we did all the fabrics last week. So the prize from last week was this gorgeous porch swing fabric. This is from Ashley Collette. And look at these prints, you guys. It's just, I don't know, it's kind of screaming fall now. It feels like it could be spring or fall with the forests and the blues and the golds. I love it. Such a beautiful collection. So that is a 10-inch stacker, so same as a layer cake. You can see my ceiling fans on. I hope that doesn't blind you too badly. It's too hot otherwise. This is a mini roly-poly, or mini jelly roll, so you can see it's a little bit smaller than a regular jelly roll. But this was in one of the Sew Sampler boxes, and it's Country Rose from Layla Boutique. So it's, of course, gorgeous. So a cute little mini one. And then I have 3 5-inch stackers of Pride and Prejudice from Jane Austen House. So Riley Blake is a licensor for the Jane Austen fabrics. So these fabrics are inspired by Jane Austen or reproductions of fabrics that she actually sewed with. So there's some really stunning fabrics there. Look at these pretty fabrics. Just kind of a great like Victorian vibe. And of course, Pride and Prejudice, little inspiration happening there with some of the sampler ones and some of like these prints. Just really, really pretty. So I have 3 stackers, which you can easily find a fabric pattern for 3 5-inch stackers. So that is the prize from last week. And the winner is Tessa House. So Tessa commented last week. If you are here, Tessa, send me an email, bev@flamingotoes.com, and we'll get your goodies out to you in the mail this week. So congratulations, Tessa. Oh, Yvette says she's sewing with porch swing for the Orange Pekoe Sew Along. Okay, Yvette, you have to share photos because I'm obsessed with that fabric collection and I want to see how your quilt turns out. Yay. Oh, Tessa is here. Yeah, Tessa, congrats. Yay. All the fabric goes to Tessa. Okay, so I have a fun little bundle for you today. So this is you can see the difference in the roly-poly situation, like a half a roly-poly and a whole one. So this is a roly-poly of afternoon tea fabric. So those are actually the fabrics used in the sample behind me. This is my tea collection that came out last year. And so this is a roly-poly, so 2.5-inch strips, 40 of them. And it's really fun. And I designed a quilt pattern to go with the roly-poly. And so I'm giving you that as well. This is my tea cakes pattern. It looks complicated. It looks like there's lots of pieces, but there is a lot of strip piecing that happens that makes this whole thing so much easier to sew. So it's just a really gorgeous pattern, and it's such a fun one. I'm gonna mock it up and show it in some other fabrics too, because I think it would be really pretty in Halloween or in Christmas too. So you get the tea cakes pattern, and you get a cute little charm that matches the tea set. So this is our little Roses tea set charm. This is so cute for, of course, a keychain, but it would be great on project bags or gift bags or anything like that. So you get a little tea set charm. So Ruth says, beware, tea cakes is huge. Okay, it's 71 by 89, Ruth. It's not so bad. I love that comment. That's great. Okay, so that is the prize for this week. If you would like to enter, all you have to do is leave a comment and then make sure you check back next week to see if you won. Okay, so that's all I have for you guys today. I have loved hanging out with you on our happy little July 1st. I hope you have a lovely 4th of July or Canada Day, depending upon what you're celebrating. Or if you're not celebrating anything this week, I hope you just have a really fabulous week. I will be back next week, and we are going to applique all the things together. And I would love to see what fabrics you are sewing with. Please share photos so we can be excited to see your finished quilts too. As always, if you guys have questions, let me know. I'm happy to answer. Send me an email is the best way to get a hold of me if you ever have questions. Facebook does not always notify us if you have left a question on a photo or messaged me or something like that through Facebook. It's terrible about that. So if you have a question that you really need an answer to rather quickly, send me an email, bev@flamingotoes.com. Oh, I was also going to tell you guys that my daughter, if you guys don't know, Becca, my daughter, works for me now, and we have been working our tails off last week redoing the shop website. It is so pretty. I would love for you guys to go check it out. It's laid out much easier, I feel like, to find things. The menu is a lot more detailed, and you can now filter by things. So if you're, say, looking at PDF quilt patterns, there's a link on the side, and you can hit 10-inch stackers, and it will show you all my patterns for 10-inch stackers. And if you're in the fabrics, it'll show you, that kind of thing. So you can really filter a lot more. The search is a lot better. I just feel like everything is better. So if you haven't gone and checked it out, I would love for you to go over to the shop and just look around. And if you see any problems, of course, let me know. We've been working like crazy on it last week. But I would love to know what you guys think. I feel like it's really exciting and just kind of tweaked things all up and made them prettier. All right, you guys, have a fabulous week and have lots of fun and enjoy the 4th. And I will see you guys next Monday. Thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. Y'all are the best. Have a great week.